7:30 Central Time on the Kicker YouTube and Facebook channel, and we will see you guys again then. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great night. And guys here in the studio, I hope you brought your umbrellas, because it's raining cats and dogs out there. I know, I just stepped in a poodle.
And we are live. This is the Unmasked After Show. We are in the studio, and it's Tuesday. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Summer is at its peak. I hope everyone's enjoying their evening, afternoon, and I just appreciate you guys hanging out with me at this late show. It starts 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. It's pretty late. But I appreciate the ones that do hang out, the ones that listen to this. Appreciate you guys for supporting. Thank you so much. And by the way, John, you did awesome tonight just talking about wiring up woofers, doing it on the spot, live and direct. That's not easy, you know? It's like, I got to do this, I got to do that. Okay, what's the next thing? And man, John, you knocked it out of the park, and appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Unmasked Show. But without further ado, let's kick off this intro, and I'll see you guys in 3 minutes.
That means we living loud.
Would you look at that? Appreciate you guys. Grab your twisted tea, take a pee, whatever you gotta do. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And man, if you guys got any questions, I'll try to answer them. No professional here, but having fun. Hi, Mom. Love ya. See you guys in a minute. I have no idea why that was just straight clipping. You gotta love the ATEM switcher. The stuff we do here on all these live podcasts, live shows, sometimes it just doesn't always go to plan. But I wanted to show that clip. I found my Eclipse key. Oakley found it. Guilty or innocent? I don't know. Cannot confirm nor deny if he was the man, but he was the man that found it, and I'm just happy. Now I got a spare key. That's great. Thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Let's see how this music pumping. We're looking good. Appreciate you. Where's Mr. El Fuego at? Thanks for tuning in. Jay Shipes. Appreciate you, man. And no, I don't like that green and yellow song. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Kibo, what is going on? Appreciate you, Kibo. And yes, happy birthday, Uncle Bobby B.
Uncle Bobby B, baby. Uncle Bobby B.
Happy birthday. And I think there's a Caboose, the Miss Caboose's birthday as well. Cornut's wife's birthday. Happy birthday to both of you guys. And man, we're just all getting older one step at a time, just like we're getting louder. It's funny how that works out. Appreciate you guys. Eric, what is up? Happy birthday, Bobby B. And William. Hey, kicking it, kicker, unmasked after show with Andy, you're a rock star. Thank you for all that you do. And thank you, William. Appreciate you. You're a great friend of mine. And man, the ones that always tune in, you guys are nuts. You guys are really nuts. Thank you so much. Let me know if I look too much like a lobster right now. I'm not too sure, but we got this camera back up and working and did a little rearranging in the studio with a little bit of Kayla's help. And we're going full tilt boogie now. I'm happy. I am happy. But yes, John did an excellent job tonight just explaining everything with wiring up different woofers. Not even, well, he did do different woofers too. 2 ohm, 2 ohm, and a 4 ohm. You know, and I kind of almost want to redo my test with a single 2 ohm and a single 4 ohm and do a power test with that, because I think I got inaccurate results due to one being a single coil and one being a dual voice coil. You know, and that's what is so crazy about this car audio. You think you know it, and then you just find out, man, there's a lot more to this stuff. And doing a podcast like this, live stream, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, and it's really hard because every day you learn something new. So you can never act like you know everything, because you never will. But that's the beauty of it, and I love it. It's the adventure, man. It is the adventure. Mike Craner, man, I miss you. I hope you're doing well, you and the family. How's the loudest family on the planet tonight? Well, it ain't mine. We ain't even loud, man. But still, I hope you're doing well and your family's doing well. Everybody here, we're surviving. We are surviving. And these guys are the ones that are loud, and they are family. What's going on, Brett? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you, man. You guys are so cool. I love each and individually, all of you the same. And, you know, it's like, wait, I have conversations with you guys after the shows in Messenger, Kicker Club, just the whole nine. And the longer I do this, you know, it's not very easy to do this stuff. It looks easy, but it's not. And whenever you meet someone that's very positive and really does want your time and your experience of whatever level it is, it's so rewarding. I can't explain it. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate you. Dubby. Love you, Dubby. Thank you for tuning in. CM Enclosures, what's up? Appreciate that you're here. Andy Rebase goes hard. Andy's Rebase, I do have two rebases, and they're all right. They're all right. I need to redo them. Redo the rebases. Double E says he loves the key. Is it the key lock? Is it the key? That's the key that you like? You know, I don't know, man. The key locks are really cool. The kiss lock, the kiss souls, just everything. Kiss load. It's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate ya. Andy. Blake, where were you last night? Tonight? Where were you? They were talking about box rise, man. Blake, thanks for tuning in. Really added to the experience to have it totally bass boosted and clipped. Oh yeah, this ATEM switcher, that's the old ATEM switcher that I used for that, and it's a little wonky. It came in heavy, Blake. It came in heavy. Thank you for tuning in, car audio enthusiasts. Appreciate you. Keep up the content. all you guys that do the YouTube channel stuff, you know, and it's easy to record, but it's hard to think of things to talk about because car audio is straight bass, you know. There's not much to it, but when you get into it, the nitty-gritty, then you find out, wow, there is really a lot to this, rather than just 2 ohm and 4 ohm. But that's kind of what they talked about tonight on the show, and then some. And then some, and that's the cool thing about this stuff. Appreciate what you do, man. Tessa, thank you for always tuning in. I appreciate you. I hope you and you guys are doing well. Appreciate you. Tara Bennett just picked up 2 3600 Warhorse amps last Friday. I know they are out at Brick and Mortar, and I believe on Crutchfield too. I'm not 100% sure, but Showtime Electronics, one of the sponsors of our show, will be getting them very soon. So if you want to buy a Warhorse 3600, it'll be on my my website. Yeah, that thing. Appreciate you. Drew, thank you for tuning in. I hope you're doing well too, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Cracker0974, happy birthday, Uncle Bobby B. Sorry, I don't have a little audio track for that for Bobby, but happy birthday, Bobby. And man, Drew, it's hard doing this stuff, talking to you guys, because it's like I want to give you my just all the energy I can, you know, and trying to help, you know, with just the 101 stuff to stuff, man, you know what, I'm still learning about too. And it's hard to just hit a like button and move on. I see a lot of people do that. I like to, you know, help people. And that's what the Kicker UnMasked show has been doing for the past, man, we're coming up, got to be almost 4 years. Like, it's just insane how long it's been going. And they keep the information coming. You know, you take something from it every Tuesday. Thank you for tuning in, Cracker. You know, I got a super chat and it threw it all up, but we got to throw it up. We got a $5 super chat from Bubba.
Would you look at that? Oh my gosh, just look at it. Just look at it. You got to look at it this way, okay? You just got to look at it. That's all you can do anymore.
Thank you, Bubba. As the weatherman called for some rain, I bless thee with some sprinkles. Please be sure to hit the like and to show your support. Happy birthday, Bobby B. And since 25's calling for rain,
Make it rain.
Hit it, Michael.
Ready?
thank you, Bubba. Appreciate you, man. And, man, happy birthday, Bobby B. Happy birthday. Midnight. Yeah, you know what? I did have that. You threw that in the beginning of the show. I know this is your first night here. Appreciate you tuning into the UnMasked show. Usually what it is keep the questions coming towards the beginning to the end, but not the very beginning, because it can get thrown out of the way. But I did see you, and you threw up a few there with my question to John Myers. I asked him, you know, pretty much, why is it when you do series, parallel series, and they talked about it on the UnMasked show of just doing all different configurations here. And on this, I might as well put my little thing up here. There we go. On this, with series, parallel series, there we go. Gotta go. Okay, so when we do series, parallel, and parallel series here, and it's 4 ohms and 4 subs, whatever, just like how John did it. And if you look at it, you see it's 2 ohms and 8 ohms for those respectively, and this is just all, you know, just series or parallel. But see how these are different, 2 and 8. And when you go to 3, it's the same thing. It's going to be different, 2.67 or 6. And when you go to 2, it's 4 and 4. You know, I know it comes down to math, but it's just crazy how that works out because, you know, obviously 1, you can't do that. You're stuck. But with 2, you can. And it's the same result. And I think that's where I messed up in the beginning of my car audio career of like having multiple subwoofers and trying to do that and not realizing that series parallel is going to give me a different result of parallel series compared to when I just had 2 woofers, because I thought it was all going to be the same, and it's not, because of just how Ohm's law works. You know, when you go up or down first can make a difference. And I just, you know, I just wanted to hear what he had to say about it. And I know it's kind of trick question, tough, hard to understand. And especially when it's live, it's like, how do I go about that? You know, it's like, I got to really think, write down a essay here. But yes, yeah, he didn't actually give me an answer, and you threw up here, John didn't actually answer your question. From a mechanical engineering position, running subwoofers with one load than a different load can provide a significant variation in overall system load impedance. Wiring voice coils in one way will not necessarily result the same resistance impedance if in a different orientation due to mechanical... where'd it go? I lost the rest of it. But, you know, right, man, you know, and with the Ohm's law, just pretty much calculators that are out there nowadays, it does take the guessing work out of it. And that's what's cool about the Kicker app that I was just showing literally right here. It's, you know, something that you're always going to want to go back on and just take a look at it. It's really awesome. Let me pull that off there because I don't think I need that anymore. Oh, we're going to turn that off. Okay, cool. And, but yeah, I wasn't skipping you, man. Lots of people here, including John. Thank you for tuning in, John. Appreciate you, sir. And we got Cookie Monster bumping into the chat. We gotta, wait, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Cookie.
All right, you gonna watch the comment section for me? Okay, cool. I appreciate it, man. This guy is always here during the lives, making sure, things go easy in the chat. And appreciate you, John Ickes, as well, sir. BT, evening all, listening in the background while building my dual solo X12 box designed by Stu. Man, BT, you love the single L7X, you're gonna love two of them. It's that easy. It is that easy. Thanks for tuning in, man. There it is. Thank you for liking the stream on Facebook, Dubby. Adrian, all knobs to the right. If you ain't clipping, you're tripping. Appreciate you tuning in, man. You do got to look at it, William. You do just got to sit back and just look at it. You just got to look at it. And you'll get the idea of why you got to wire your subwoofers in the right way for your amplifier. And I loved how he described, you know, just different... 2 channels, monoblock, bridging, and, how old amplifiers just never had that capability. Like, we are so spoiled in today's standards, and even when I got into it in, like, 2007, it's like, oh, yeah, I could just bridge my 2-channel. I could bridge my 4-channel. Didn't even think nothing about it. Like, I didn't know what bridge meant, but I'm like, okay, we're going to put it there for him. We're good. And that was about it. Back in the beginning days, and even with like your home stereo, a lot of them you can't. Like, they're just 2 separate entities, just like how he was describing, and how they're kind of like tied together now so that you can do it. I think that was pretty cool that John brought that up. And whenever you're into car audio for as long as he has and working at Kicker, I mean, you really do know the ins and outs, and I learn something from them every time. You know, I walk in there thinking like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, that's cool, I didn't know that. Okay, so we can figure it out that way. And that's what's cool about this stuff, because there's a learning curve, but everybody can try to take something away from what we do here. Thank you, William. There's Brody Man again. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, Brody Man. This guy, Little Basshead, he is awesome. And those guys are traveling to all the shows. That ain't cheap. That's dedication. I appreciate you guys. Let's see. Dubby says, hey, Andy, thanks for answering the ground questions before. That was interesting. Also, come on, Dubby. No. No. No, I mean, I know he's got the Andy undies on at least, but geez, TMI, but we love Dubby. Blake says, well, technically, I believe that wiring subs in parallel and the coils in series is going to even out QC more. But to be honest, if the subs are different enough to matter, you should avoid them at all costs. Parallel, and see, that's how I feel like how John felt. I'm like, what the? And it can make a difference. I know, even with people saying, you know, if you wire in series first compared to parallel, I think that's what he's talking about, that you can get better BL, but then there's just the whole factor of just, what was it, the power loss or something, or efficiency goes down. I don't know, of just how that works. Like, that's the thing with car audio. There's no like, oh, do this and it's going to be the best case scenario in every scenario. It's just not going to work out like that. There's no such thing as putting in a cheat code to make your woofer do something that physics is just not going to let it do. And but it still is something to think about with just how this stuff works. And whenever you get into like sound quality, that's when you really got to know even more. But we're not going down that rabbit hole. We're not. Andy has favorites. Favorites? I love you too, Kyle. You're a favorite. Brett, yes, redo some rebasses. I would crank those up. I need to get the Fruity Loops going again, powered up. Get it going. I do. Thanks for tuning in, Garrick. Appreciate you. Love you, Andy. Surgery went good. Excellent, man. I've been praying for you. Hope you're doing a little bit better, and one step at a time, sir. That's so cool. You got to hang out with DJ Rusticles. That is awesome. What am I doing? Pressing the wrong button here. I don't have two of these. I could, but I'm not going to do that. You know, again, that's awesome. You know, just to meet the people in the industry it's priceless. It really is. All right. There is no topic really tonight of the show. I mean, yes, it's talking about wiring. And if you guys do want me to go more into it, I mean, John really covered everything, and this is more of a wrap-up show. And sometimes, you know, they can't fit everything into 90 minutes ish, and that's where I can really, okay, I want to talk about this that they kind of missed, or it's something that they weren't going in that direction, and I'm like, oh well, I could talk about this and it's still in the same path. Tonight John really covered A to Z with wiring down to the math, different woofers, amplifiers. It doesn't get much more simpler than that, where it's like, hey, you know, depending each situation, you gotta have something else. And I'm gonna show you literally how to do it. And I think another thing that you could have went on with that show, excuse me here, man, is you can get the same results with more woofers and less woofers, but have the same final load because you got dual 2s instead of dual 4s. So maybe you should get, you know, 2 instead of 4 because you got those resistant load, DC load, the impedance, not the impedance, because we talked about that. The impedance is AC, the resistance is DC. But, you know, just the load of the driver, the 2 ohms, the 4 ohms, you should have got the 2 ohms because your amplifier is 2 ohms stable, and you got 2 of them, you know, and you can get the same thing with 4. Is it 4? Yeah, no, 4 at 4, it would be, yeah, I think that would be 2 ohms. 4 ohms, 4 subs, dual voice coil, I think series parallel. See, that's the thing. It's like a lot of it you can memorize. And since there's so many different ways to do it, it can get really tricky. Like the quad box is series parallel and it brings you down to 1 ohm. So yeah, that would be 2 ohms since they're dual 4s instead of dual 2s. That's what's in the quad box. There's 4 of them. So that's the thing where it gets like, okay, could have talked about that. And look, I'm talking about it now. And that's the beauty of the show, man. That's the beauty of it. And I always kind of like the after show of a show because you got something to keep going with. You know, whenever I first started this show, day one, it was an after show of the Rolling Thunder. It was an after show, you know? So whenever I start fresh out the gate, I'm like, first couple times, I'm like, what do I do? What do I talk about? I don't know how to do this. I'm always used to going after somebody else. All right, cool. Garrick's got a unboxing video. Tessa, we're good here. Andy, hope you're doing well, healthy, no complaints, and getting ready for vacation. Speaking of which, I took the quad box out of the Pilot so we have actual room for the suitcases and stuff. But I still got a kicker 12-inch comp, loaded enclosure, downfiring sealed from Walmart in there now. And let me tell you, that thing sounds good. I need to do a video on it. I bought it. I never did a video on it. I need to do it. And I feel like it's perfect for that. It really is. It fills in my low end that I don't have with just my 4 6.5s and my tweeters and a center channel. It just, they can't play bass like that can, and it just balances it out. So when I'm driving for 8.5 hours, it still sounds good. It's not knocking my socks off doing a 150, but it definitely sounds good. And it's sad to take that quad box out each time, but that's the beauty of that thing. It's real easy to slide in, slide out. Next. I love it. I love it. Appreciate you guys. What is tonight's show about? You guys didn't see the thumbnail. I guess it's not in there. I guess the title was kind of weird. More woofers, more problems. Because when you got more, you can run into problems with wiring them. And that's one thing I see so much is just people that buy woofers and amplifiers and they don't know. I got two dual 2s, you know, and my amp's 1 ohm stable. Yeah, man, you got to be at 2 ohms. And they're like, well, I want to be at 1. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You'd have to go down the 1 sub. And they're like, I don't want to run 1 sub. Well, you should have looked at it and thought, man, maybe I needed dual 4s or dual 1s to get that final 1 ohm load. And hey, half ohm does work. Trust me, I've done it. I do it. But still, for your average person, especially that person, should know, you know, just how to wire their stuff. And you don't want to waste money. That's the last thing you want to do with this hobby because it is expensive. You know, it's just like computers and just, you know, technology stuff. It can rack up really fast. You know, once you really get into it, any hobby gets expensive. That's why in the beginning I was going to go for the tuners and race cars. And I also had bass. And I was like, you know what? I think the bass is cheaper. You know, that was kind of my excuse of saying why I picked it, you know, because I liked both. And boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. And I wasted a lot of money on stuff that just didn't work. And it's funny. I got the kicker or the L7X. I keep wanting to call it that. But the Solo X right behind me here. And I never switched. You know, and it just, I loved it. It sounded good and it worked. And I've been running it since 2012, man. I love the thing. I really do. And didn't have to waste money after that. Thank you, LLwA, with a $10 super chat, and it's Tuesday.
This is what makes time travel possible. The flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor.
Thank you, LLwA. Going with 3 dual 2 ohm L7X 15s on 2 Warhorse 3600.1 amps, gain matched with 3 2 ohm voice coils in parallel. Each amp will see 0.66666 ohms. Theoretically, each sub should see around 2600 watts, right? Well, that's a thing, man. I mean, if you're at 0.666 ohms and that amplifier technically isn't rated that, you know, Joe Hobart calls that the illegal load. Anything below what it's rated is an illegal load. I like how he puts that, you know, better than saying, oh, it's wired to the dirt. But that's not terribly low, but still, right? And that's a thing, too, to think about, like how John did the presentation tonight, where he hooked them up and he was supposed to get 1.3333, right? That's math. That's with the 4 ohm dead on the money. Well, if he got 3.9 or 3.7 ohms per coil, he got 0.09, him like literally an ohm. So that's okay, but you can see there's a little tolerance issue there. And that's where you really do have to do the math. You can't rely on these apps. I mean, you can, they'll get you close, but there's always going to be a woofer's never going to be dead set at its resistance. It's just not going to be. And that's fine. That's totally fine. And even then, even if it is off, is it going to hurt your amplifier? Probably not. Just because even if it's 1 ohm, it is coming out 0.9, it's not really going to hurt it because your amplifiers are built in a way to have a little bit of leniency for that. And with John said it, box rise, impedance curve, the speaker moving, making bass, and the resistance goes up and down. That never goes below that. So as long as you're playing music and within the proper range, you never see anything close to that. Usually 2 to 4 times your starting resistance is what you see on your final impedance on the musical curve. So it can make a difference. It just all depends, but still, you should be perfectly fine with that, LLwA. Appreciate you so much. And I can't wait to see that build. That's going to be loud. 3 L7X 15s. Even though it's on one warhorse, each one's going to be divided up. And right, how much power is it really going to see? Is it going to be that 2600 watts? Yay. Lamping, you could probably get around that, if not more. I wired mine at half ohm, and I was seeing around 33, so 0.67 isn't too far away from that. And my rise is ×4 at its loudest with just a few tests that I did, and you can get more than that. But still, it is a 5,000 pretty much watt amplifier, and being down below that, you should be able to see 3,000 to 5,000 watts clamped out of that amplifier on a good day. And man, just between all three, 1,000 watts plus each 15, and really, those get just loud on 1,000 watts. You don't need all 2,000. Like, you can, but you don't really need to. Even with mine on 500 watts, it does like a 42. On 1,000 watts, it does a 45. On 2,000 watts, it does a 48. 47, 48. And you can see where it starts to drop off. And its loudest, at least in that design, is around 1,000 watts plus. And that's the idea. And if you can be as loud as you should be, kind of deal thing within reason, and not be cooking that coil, and you got a high temp coil, you could play all day. You don't ever have to shut that thing off. And that's the cool thing about the L7X, just because it can handle more heat than the old ones. It just can. Like, yeah, mine could handle some power, especially for back then, but not that long. Eventually that heat builds up and the resin will melt. These just got higher temp coils, like a lot of stuff you see nowadays, and then some. And then some. Thank you, LLwA. Waggy! All right, let's see where I'm at. I'm behind, but we had to talk about it. We had to look at it. Let me move this over here so I can see your guys' comments. Okay, in the Philippines, Andy reposts El Fuego's link. I missed it. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Oh, I wanted to throw this up too. I'm just gonna do this real fast. Warhorse competition accessories, they are available. Go check them out. They are online. You can buy them. This one right here is $60 for the distro. And the PowerWire wireless bass knob, or universal bass knob. Sorry, I'm used to saying wireless. $80, but that's cool because let me tell you, that bass knob has the most tactile feel. I love you, NGA. I love your wireless bass knob. It is awesome. It's amazing. It's the favorite thing in my life. But this one is nice with a tactile feel. You can feel the ugga-duggas. And some people might like that more than just those roly-poly-olies. And the roly-polies are just perfectly fine, man. I like the ugga-duggas for some reason. I think Kicker knocked it out of the park with that. And, hey, man, it's okay to lose the Kicker, man. They do some awesome stuff, and they got a lot of people behind the scenes working on every product. And it's the stuff that they do talk about, but you never see. And if you ever do want to stop out and see it, go down to Kicker, get a tour. It's awesome. I'm telling you guys. Yes, nom nom nom. Nom nom nom. Hello, John. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, people. 35 people watching. Smash the like. All right, let's see. What are we at here? 42 by the time now I'm seeing it, and 25 likes. You gotta smash the like, guys. Come on.
Just hit the like.
Just hit the like. Come on. Thank you, Cracker0974. I appreciate you. 3 days ago, the Kicker L7s 2 or 4 of them were $264 on Crutchfield. If Andy has an affiliate link, brother, now, I do have an affiliate through Crutchfield, but Showtime is my number one. And the cool thing about Kicker, unless it's in store, there's a map pricing, so they should be on sale everywhere, unless it's like a returned woofer or something like that, remanufactured that they do. But either way, that's cool. Thanks for letting the guys know, man. Let's see. Okay. 25's got the wrench. I'm glad he's in there helping out. Solo X. Mike's just throwing up emojis. John, I'm going to actually see if John wants to join, the other John wants to join me on Tuesday. And I want to talk about that because The guy that was just on the UnMasked show tonight, John Myers. Because that's something that I don't know about, other than like I was telling you with just improper gain settings, and you can let noise through, noisy equipment in general. But I do want to hear more because John Myers is an excellent sound quality person. Like, he knows how to tune a system and staging and all that stuff, man. And noise is the last thing you want in something like that. So I think that would be something cool. And I appreciate you guys. I bounced ideas off your guys' head when you're hanging out. We're in the Discord, whatever we're doing. And that one's sticking, man. It really is. But right, the noise going to the mids and highs. I covered the alternator whine. But what about that static? That sounds like a record player at the end of the record. What is that? How do you get rid of that? What are the proper ways to fix that? And is it just the equipment? I think that would be excellent to talk about with John. And John is so smart. I love having him on. It's been like 2 months. We got to bring him back on. He says he's always down. So I'm like, you know what? I'm taking him up on that offer. He doesn't know it yet. He doesn't know it yet. Thank you for tuning in, Brett. Andy, would you recommend putting 2 4-ohm mid-range speakers in parallel to make a 2-ohm load on a single stereo channel on an amp, or is that just silly? So the 2 4-ohm speakers, I seen you threw up your question on UnMasked. They didn't answer it, and that's another thing I do. I catch the rebounds here and put it on to make it 2-ohm, to wire it in parallel on a single channel. And I think you were going to put that on like your 360 or your 400.4 or the key. I think it was the key 200.4 that you had. And the only problem with that, it's nothing bad. It's just, okay, you put 2 of them on one channel. So most amplifiers that are like a 4-channel is going to be the strongest at 2-ohm and then less at 4-ohm, obviously. But whenever you put your door speakers in, you got 4 of them, you got 4 channels, 9 chances out of 10, you got a 4-ohm. So you're not getting all the power out of your amp. So what the heck? So what he's asking is to put 2 of them on there, and then you would get that 2-ohm load. Okay, so now you're getting all the power out of your amp. Well, most amps and good amps will do double the power from 4 ohms to 2 ohms. But the problem lies within the lines. You're doubling your power, but you're also doubling the things you need for power. So each one is going to take half that power. So you're really not gaining power per se, unless you would hook up, okay, we got 2 in the front here, 2 in the front there, 2 in the front, 8 speakers. And then you're really doubling or quadrupling, because you're doubling in just power output in general, and you're doubling in surface area of just speakers. Now with mids and highs, it's different than just SPL and bass of what I know, but it still does make sense. You're going to double it if you would just have 8 speakers at 50 watts, and then if you got 8 speakers at 100 watts, but there's 8 of them, because each one's going to get 50 instead of 25, or I don't know, because you couldn't do it that way. You'd have to wire it in series. Or different DC resistance speakers. That's the thing. Like, there's not just this and that. So you can compare it, but you got to have a lot of variables to be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together so that you can compare it. What I'm going to tell you is just what I said in the beginning. You're going to be able to get twice the power, but both of them are going to need it. Both of them are going to need it. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, sir. It's getting hot in here. Lights are getting bright here, man. They're getting real bright. Let's see what else I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, by the way, where's it at here? 3, 2, 1, boom. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Colin, you did great tonight in Bill's chair, and now it's your chair. I wish you luck, man. I can't wait to meet you in person, talk to you, be working with you for all the kicking it with Andy's and just, things regarding kicker. And Jeremy Wynn, you did awesome tonight as well with Ernie. You didn't switch the camera on John too much. You did good. Appreciate all those guys and part of the team for sure. And let's see, what else was there? There's one other thing I wanted to show, was what John was talking about. Kicker Club, 54,000 members, awesome build, 2 L7X 15s in a custom prefab that this shop sells for the Solo X15s. That thing is awesome because it looks like a quad box. But like 215s, man, now if Kicker sold that, you know, like, what would that be, like 10, 11, 12 cubes? That'd be even bigger than a quad box. I got the space. I'm ready. I'm ready. That would probably most likely, yeah, definitely louder than Cookie Monster. Even in the pilot. Even in the pilot, man. Let's see. Thank you, Cookie Monster, for saving these. He presses the big red button here. Andy finally installed those 20 amp hour skibs you recommended. Oh my God, I have 100 amp hour charging at 15.4 and I don't even see 14s on Assault 8K. Yeah, buddy. I told you, man, they're my favorite just because they got a lot of capacity and a lot of discharge. They're very well balanced. Even Remy recommended those to me in the very beginning. And of course, I tried out the power and I'm like, okay, it's got a little bit more power, but then it runs out a lot faster. And those are a well-balanced battery and they're going to last you a long time, man. Again, I love hearing that stuff, and that's what's great about doing this show. I get to hear about, you know, the success stories and the fails. And the fails. Speaking of Jake, where's Jake? Jake, we need you. We need you, Jake. Josiah Harris, I'm getting the subs July 18th. Andy, I'm so excited. Greetings, by the way. Thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate you, man. Ah, man, you know, July 18th, that's dead middle of summer. You got plenty of time to be bumping the L7Xs down the street. And, man, I can't wait to hear about it. I can't. Okay, so I see El Fuego's comment there. Quad Solo X box is crazy work. So 4 Solo X's. Man, you know, like Ernie, I need 3 more L7X 12s. Just please. Why do you need 3? Just hear me out. Quad box with Solo X's just to try it. I seen someone put 2 in a quad box and cover the holes. I think you could put all 4 in there. It's going to be pretty peaky, but you put enough power on it, it'll do something all right. I bet you 54s. I bet you 54s. Right now I'm doing 50.5, 0.6 with 4 L7Rs in there. So I think it could be up there. I think it could. Even though it's a little bit under recommended spec. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. El Fuego is top notch. He is. He is. We love El Fuego, man. Let's see. Yes, and you know what? That's all thanks to Uncle Bobby B.
Uncle Bobby B, baby.
Man.
Uncle Bobby B.
He's always sending me the links quickly. Like, boom. Like, Ernie didn't even pick up the phone yet. Bobby's on it, man. And, yes, go check him out. I love how they have the distributor blocks, like just the distributor fused blocks, not even the top post distributors. Those are cool. But the distros, you know, I think that's awesome because these amplifiers have 2 power and 2 ground for the Warhorse. Yeah, to clean up the wires and keep things safe, that's the way to go. And put a fuse in between each one. You're good to go, man. They are awesome. They are awesome. Andy, I'm going to have a system done by the end of July. That's awesome, Josiah. That's awesome. You know, and that's the thing. You get your equipment and it takes some time to get it there, and then you got to put it together, and you don't want to skip over your steps or you're going to have to take things apart and redo them, and that's the worst feeling, you know, and we talked about it last Tuesday with the ground loop noise, and you got to rip everything out to try to fix that, or just run another run, and you got to pull your door panels apart, and you're just, it's a lot. It really is. I'm trying to catch up on the comments. I'm so far behind. 50% off discount tonight. No, it's every other Tuesday. Sorry, Simon. That is just Kicking It with Andy from 7:30 Central to 8:30 Central time is when you can get that. Every other Tuesday on Kicking It with Andy. That's their special nod to thank you for coming to my channel to watch while they're on their holiday week vacation, if you want to call it that. Those guys are always working. But yes, every other Tuesday, man. Every other Tuesday. I mean, if we gave them out that often, every time I went live and every time the Kicker did an UnMasked show, be like, you get a 50% off, you get a 50, you get a 50. You know, it would just be like everything's 50% off. And there's no point. I don't know. Yes, I can sign your 2 Solo X15s, man. I'd be honored to, man. I'd be honored to. Rocking it. Absolutely, Brett. Absolutely. And yeah, I got 2 air conditioners in here. I have a new fan in the corner too, just because to help air circulation, efficiency, and moving the air around so I can do some hair tricks in here. We got a nice little separate fan over there. It does the trick. And I did also pick up down here a new shelving system for just things. And I was sitting there watching the UnMasked show, watching on the big screen over here, and got my charge and stuff, put a laptop over there, read my Auto Sound 2000 book, and just, it's awesome in here. I love it. And it still needs to be a little bit colder. Not cold enough. We need more wind. It's how it goes, man. It's how it goes. Oh, man. Thank you for tuning in. Underrated Audio Repair. I'm so happy that you're here, man. My buddy that did the last one, he's moving into his house, and I'd rather do it with him because he is a pro at it. I know we had that mess up on the aluminum one, you know, and oh man, that CA glue is quick. It dries fast. It's not 10 seconds, it's 0.10 seconds. So this guy's awesome. He sent me another one, a copper coil this time, so it should be pretty identical to the original Solo X coil that's on the 18, which is awesome. Go check him out. He's got eBay and Facebook, and he sells Solo X18 coils and W7s, and just, you know, the ones you can't really find too often. I appreciate this guy. And no, not yet. And honestly, I just haven't had too much time playing with the kids, playing with the Power Wheels, doing the studio stuff, going to work. It's a lot. And yeah, it's a lot. The system's playing right now. I'm not in a super rush, but I do want to do another one because, one, I got a few blown ones up here, but two, I will be doing a little something special for the studio with a Warhorse 10K and a Solo X whenever I do retire the L7X18, and I would rather retire the one that's got a signature from Steve Irby. That's the one that's still playing on its last leg. That's all because of Steve, man. That's the one I originally bought from Kicker in 2017, and that was one of the last coils, and it's still playing. I want to keep it that way, so yeah, I will be throwing that coil on, but thank you again for hooking me up on that second one. This guy is awesome. I want to give you a review, but I think this is even better. I do want to do a thorough video on that, just like how you're doing updated pictures and videos of how you're putting those together. This guy does them too. He doesn't just sell them, he does them too. I was like, dude, I'm just going to send you mine. You can do it. But it's like, what's the fun in that, you know? I will get this right the second time. It was working great. The coil did not fail. It was our soldering, and that happens. It does happen. So I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Awesome, man. You are awesome. Let's see. Blake overpowering tweeters to a point. Doesn't matter. Blake's always overpowered his tweeters. Now you just hit him in the nerve. You hit him in the nerve. Thank you for tuning in, Doug. Andy, I think to make voice coils high temp, they just paint them with black resin coating, right? Well, there is that, but then there's also the cooling properties of the woofer. I mean, Kicker has always kind of done that very well. Like, even with the Kicker comps you buy at Walmart. Yes, the ones you buy at Walmart can get really hot, and they can dissipate that heat very effectively. So there is that factor of, you know, just, yes, the resin temperature, it's just a higher melting point, you know, it's that, you know, and so you got that. But if you got something that can't get rid of the heat, it's not going to last as long, and it's going to hit that higher temperature a little bit faster than the one that can't. Just think of it like this. You got a room and you got a heater in it. If you don't have it like an opening with a fan to cool it down, that room's going to heat up pretty fast. If you got a fan kicking that heat out, it's going to heat up slower. Eventually, it could still, if it can't get rid of that heat fast enough, that room will still get to the highest temperature of failure point. And that's kind of the name of the game with this stuff. So yes, it's with the temperature of the resin, what that can withstand, but also with the properties of how it's dissipating that heat, which is pretty darn good. It is pretty darn good. I have not seen too many people. I'm trying to think if someone blew a coil. Even at Slamology, it was just like broken cones and just, you know, nothing crazy. Like, oh man, these guys were demoing for hours with like twice the rated power on them, you know, and that's, if it breaks on that, then that's on you, man. That is on you. Thanks for tuning in, Doug. Appreciate ya. El Fuego says these nice systems with budget constraints we all have to take years to come to reality. You know, and that's the thing, you know, with budgeting. Car audio enthusiast guy, I gotta get your real name. But I'd be calling you by your YouTube channel anyway, just because that's how we all know each other here. Like, you know, El Fuego, that is definitely not his name, but it's pretty close. He is the fire. But still, it's like, whenever you're budgeting for a system, you know, you can do it in pieces, and there is better ways and worse ways to do that, rather than buying it all at once and you can get it right the first time, if you even know how to do that. But let's say you do, but you want to do it in steps. You can't get in a firm pay for 4, you can't get credit on your name, and you want to do it every 2 weeks, every time you get an extra pay. Whatever the situation is, what do you do first? And I think that is important. I like how he went into that with just your electrical, but your entire system. It is a mission of putting things together, and you don't want to trip before you start walking, where, you know, oh man, I blew up my sub because my electrical wasn't good, but I didn't have that yet, and I had my amplifier, or the amplifier went. You know, whatever the situation is. And we all got to take our time, and it does take a minute, you know, unless you got 6 figures and no wife, no kids. Maybe then you can just do whatever you want, fast as you want, no budget restraints, and hey, maybe that's okay. But that's not the majority of us. It's definitely not. Thank you, Alpha Wego. Oh, Blake's getting upset. He's like, I am not clipping my tweeters. I am not. Don't you clip my tweeters. Andy, did you... Okay, what does he say? Andy, did you load that fan down to 1 ohm, though? Seems like it's 4 ohms. You know, it is, and I do have a variable voltage regulator on here that I can change, and I think that would still change. Well, the resistance wouldn't change, I mean, unless the current's changing, because, yeah, it would have to be the voltage. Yeah. Yep, the resistance is going to stay the same. So now if I had 2 fans, and they're the 4 ohm fans, I would be at 2 ohms. But what if I had another one? Would it be at 1? No, it's 1.333. And that's, you know, now I need 4 fans. I need 4 fans in here, but maybe I'd have proper circulation and all the power I want, but then it's divided by 4. So maybe it's better to get the 2 ohm fans and just have 2, and the power's divided by 2, and I don't need as big an amplifier. But there's half the cone travel, half the cone area. Physics. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. There's no way of cheating. Okay, Andy, did you use HushMat in Cookie Monster? Should I use it? How did you run your system so long without breaking anything? Probably because I ain't loud. No, but for real though, that shag does help with the sound dampening. There is a little bit of sound dampening in the back of the trunk, just in the rear portion of the hatch, like literally like a foot by 3 feet. And I don't have any rattle. There's a few reasons for that. 1, all the shag. 2, I play lows, and the vehicle's built really well. Now, with my Pilot, different story. There's no sound dampening in there, and it sounds like a tin can rattling down the street. But man, I don't care. It sounds great in the car, and as long as I'm coming down the street in front of you, the bass outweighs the rattle. Now, if I'm driving away and you hear the trunk, can't get away from that. You know, it just looks like I'm loud. That's fine. But right, whenever you do the sound dampening, it is, or, you know, Jake and Blake, they're going to be like, dampening, the soundproofing, you know, you're literally reducing the amount of output that you could have, in sacrifice for less rattle. So there are ways to actually gain some SPL with that, but then there's also ways that I don't know, it's tough. Like, I've seen guys literally reposition that stuff over and over and until they got a louder score. And there's different firmness, different thicknesses, but for your average person that wants to get rid of the trunk rattle, I mean, what I would suggest to do is just literally line up the entire trunk with it. That the trunk lid, if you got a trunk, if the hatchback, I wouldn't suggest that, only the back portion. And the problem is, whenever you start getting really loud, it's not even the rattle that's hurting you, it's the flex of the whole mechanism that is floating. Like, my whole hatch floats. The trunks, whatever, will start floating open. So you can have all the sound dampening you want in there, but then the thing starts floating and then you start breaking things. I noticed with hatchbacks, I don't know about mine, I've never got it past that, but my friends, once they go over that 153, 154 dB threshold, you start breaking things. You really do start breaking things. But I don't know. It's only been a 151.5 and I couldn't play like that forever. I'd cook the sub. Right now it's a 150 flat and I can play for, you know, a good amount of time, and did tons of demos at Slamology. It was like 43 different people I gave demos to. I know that's not crazy amount, but to me, that's a lot, man. That's an old Solo X, still kicking it. But right, I kind of been lucky in a good car, like a Honda Civic. I've seen them flex on like 130 dB builds at like 32 hertz. That window was just flexing. I'm like, dude, how? How? I can't. Thank you so much for hanging out, man. Tara says, built my own custom quad box, tuned to 31 hertz for my 05 F-150 crew cab with a full back seat delete. Powered by two 3600.1s. Can't wait to hear this build. Waiting for my 4 1000.4s to come in. That is awesome, Tara. And that's pretty loud. 4 1000.4s? Huh? What? What did you say? That's gonna be loud. And man, you know, 2 war horses. 2 war horses, 3600s, 10,000 watts RMS. Yeah, you'll be able to keep up with a lot of them. That is awesome. The most important factor to power audio and car audio system is through the electrical system. The big 4, could be 5, but right, the big 4. The alternator upgrade, the cabling, speaker wire, RCAs, and where you save money. Right. You know, and it's the foundation is the most important thing with our systems, because you don't want to go back and fix the foundation after you built your house. Well, you wouldn't do it for your car audio system neither. And are you using a fanny to keep your amps cool, man? You know, I do have that fanny and I do want to install that. I need to get a relay for the Pilot. I have a relay for Cookie Monster that I really don't need, but I wanted to put it in that car and you can't even see it. So I want to get another relay, and just because those fannies do take some power, like over an amp, but not much more than an amp, but more than a remote wire can put out from your head unit, or, you know, what have you. Even a BassKnob, they don't put out that much. They can't turn on everything. I do want to get a relay so I can have that, but the kicker amps they hold their own, man. They truly do with that heat, and they dissipate that heat really well too. 25's going for rain again. Oh man, I'm so far behind, but we're almost ending the show, so I'm gonna pick a few more and we're gonna end this thing. And Midnight had too much Twisted Tea tonight. I can tell. Don't ask me how I know. I can tell. Doug, yeah, I've got 7 systems, total 4 incomplete and 3 nearly complete for 3 different vehicles, and it's been taking me since 2015 off and on to get where I need to get. I'm not rich, but still spent about $25,000 so far, and right, I feel like I'm about literally in that same boat. I only got 7, well, I probably do got 7 systems, including the amp dynos and just other things that I got. But right, you know, like, we got Cookie Monster, Quad Box, Kayla's car, soon to be Volvo, but like 3 150 pretty much dB cars, and it took a while to get those all complete, and some still need tweaking and here and there. and you know, there's always room to fix things. But right, man, you gotta take your time. You gotta take your time because you want to do it right. You want to do it right. Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate that you're here tonight with us. Find a cheap hobby, they said. Yeah, you picked the wrong one, Dubby. You picked the wrong one. You definitely did. And thank you, Chris, with the $5 super chat. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that? Oh my gosh, just look at it. Just look at it. You gotta look at it this way, okay? You just gotta look at it. That's all you can do anymore.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Reisenhauer Designs for all your laser engraved art and custom work based out of San Diego, California. Showing you some love to Andy. Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you. And yeah, you got to check him out. You got to check him out. Facebook, and I'm sure he's got a website. We're gonna have to get that in the description here soon too, man. Does awesome work, just all acrylic stuff, fancy custom engraving, man. You know, just talented. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you, sir. The caboose is nearing. The Civic is a Coke can. It's terrible, man. It is terrible. I like the rattle. Makes me feel like a big man. Real bass heads understand. I know. It makes you seem louder. It's like just breaking your car. You're not breaking. I mean, we did. I know. Cookie Monster's fine. No issues with the bass. The Pilot fell to the bass, man. Quad box 1, Pilot 0. I got a crack literally on the rear quarter panel. Coming down a little bit. And then right around the wheel well. And that thing flexes all the time. And whenever I would go to competitions, whenever I first had it, people were always pushing on that part right there. I'm like, don't push on. And they were pushing on. I gained like 0.2. But it wasn't all the time. You had to push on it just right. And it was kind of stupid. But that thing was flexing like really, really bad. And yep, one day I just noticed there's a giant crack on the side of my car. And I'm like, oh, how did that get there? You know, and it's like, yep, it was from them kickers. Like, it literally was. I mean, it nothing. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I know you guys can't trust me now. Kayla's car is still one piece. But no, I was surprised. So now I got to get, like, body work done. This was, like, less than a year ago. About a year. It's already rusting. I gotta do body work to it first. John's gonna help me with that. He's good with that kind of stuff. Thank you, Midnight. Great show tonight, Andy. No rambling, to the point, addressing questions. Great show. Thank you, sir. And that's what I try to do my best. It's kind of hard to not ramble sometimes, but sometimes it happens. Rabbit holes get deep, but I try to stick to the, to the route. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. What's happening? Chris R for the win. Sup, homie? Thank you, Chris, again, man. Let's see. If I were going to use constrained layer dampening on the roof of a vehicle that gets really hot, I'd use Resin X. That's the stuff that's pretty rough, hard. So that's the thing, too. You can eliminate vibration not just with the sound dampening, but with just strength. So that's why you see builds that got wood on the ceiling, they just got wood on the dash, they got wood on the doors. I mean, that's probably for the speakers and stuff, but still, you get what I'm saying, for rigidness and just being strong so that the sound really isn't going through and out and vibrating the metal outside the car, because that's not the point. You want to keep the sound in as much as you want for or much as you can, and that's for SPL. But for us average guys, I mean, if your door's flexing, it's, once you get so loud, you can't get around it. But still, you get what I'm saying. It's okay. Andy doesn't SDK have a fan. He has, well, probably another choice instead of a fanny. I know. Well, he's supposed to send me that one, but he never did. He's got his own little fanny. Let's see. El Fuego with another one. Thank you, El Fuego.
Would you look at that? Oh my gosh, just look at it. Just look at it. You got to look at it this way, okay? You just got to look at it. That's all you can do anymore.
I will never stop looking at it. Shout out to Bubba for coordinating travel plans to Surf City with the boys. Shout out to Cornut for tracking the 2016 Ford Runner upgrades ahead of Surf And those guys are on it, man. They are truly on it, preparing for the vacation with all the boys that tune in to the Kicker shows, my show, and just the YouTube community. These guys are A1, and they're good at it. They really are. One year I will go to Surf City. I don't know when, but I can't wait to go to the Pacific Northwest. Thank you, LLwA. Oh, you just now seen that? Did you just now see that? There's no way you just now seen that. Yeah, we got the SDK black and yellow hat. This thing is awesome. Just look at it. Just look at it. Love it. Love it. Black and yellow. Black and yellow. No, before I go to Philippines, next April, I will be in contact with Derek, Justin, and the others to set up a car audio museum of sorts. Regardless of manufacturer, we need to preserve the history. I know, that's the thing, man. It's getting easier with some things to keep things in history with like digital photo books, you know, aka terabytes of just memory, solid state drives. You don't lose stuff as much, and you know, just trying to hold on to the pieces of history, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for tuning in, Budget Audio with Jay. You're late, but it's okay. I hope you're doing well. I see you start posting a little bit more often, and it's hard, man, just doing this stuff every week, and this guy's like posting like every other day with stuff. Keep it up, dude. Keep it up. Thank you, Midnight. Thank you, Bubba. Cornut secured our VRBO. Is that like a fancy B&B? I don't know the language, the termage. Oh man, Cornet. Let's see. Thank you, Todd, for liking it on Facebook. You guys are awesome. And okay, cool. You guys are awesome. I'm not going to keep you here hanging forever. We had 40 people, like literally the entire show. 36 still on here on YouTube. Smash the like before you leave. Appreciate you guys all tuning and hanging out with me. And got to throw up this camera. Wiz, where you at? Wiz, come on, where are you at? I don't know. He doesn't want to come out tonight. I get it. It's late. It's the Unmasked After Show. I appreciate you guys all watching, hanging out with me, and make sure you tune in Friday and Tuesday. We'll be live as always. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay living loud. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Right? You know what that means. We living loud.
Bobby. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and always looking at it. Appreciate you guys. See you on the after party. If you're not, have a good week. See you on Friday. I love you guys. Stay living loud.
Livin Loud Swag.
You know, I'm surprised CJ didn't do it as well. That would have been great. I had to share this. Troy Underwood with his Livin Loud with Andy shirt. Reppin' hard. Love you, Troy. Appreciate you guys. And all you guys wearing swag. And Cornut coming in the caboose. Love you guys. See you on the next one. Ah.